Chelsea, how you doing?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I am doing well, doing well. Thank you for joining us on the show today. Um,
Yeah, for
so
having
just to
me.
start out, yeah, of course, and thanks for joining us. And you're in Berlin, right?
Exactly. I'm based in Berlin. Our headquarters here, and exactly calling from Germany. It's the evening here already,
Got it. What time is it for you right now?
6 p.m.
Perfect, perfect.
What
Well,
about
again,
you?
thanks for joining us on the show. We're so excited to have you. Um, just to start out, why do you love food so much?
I love food because it's everything, right? Food is passion, it's culture, it's history, it's community. It's basically around us every day. That's something that everyone does every day. And
Yes,
yeah, I'm super passionate about it as well because of the community aspect. And also, when looking at our world today, we really do need to create a sustainable food system. So that's why we're here to build the grounds for that. Uh,
absolutely, absolutely. What about drinking? You like drinking too?
oh, I love drinking wine. I'm very passionate about drinking wine. I actually
Absolutely.
I actually worked in a winery 2 years ago. I was living in Sicily and Mount Etna on the volcano, and I was working there at a winery and yeah, supporting them on all different kinds of topics, but also working with my hands there and learning how to taste and all the different topics.
I
So
love
yeah.
that. I love that. I enjoy wine as well, but I am not as versed as you, obviously. I need to get a little more educated because I'm obviously in the restaurant space. And to be honest, I don't go too far down that topic because I'm not even sure what I really like. Embarrassing enough as it is. But anyway, so you've got a really interesting background. You studied gastronomic sciences. What exactly is that? Can you kind of describe that to us?
Yeah, sure. So I went to the University of Gastronomic Sciences, which is in North Italy, and it was founded by Carlo Petrini, who is the founder of the slow food movement. Let me go short deep dive into the slow food movement. The slow food movement is an organization that promotes sustainable and local food production. So that's basically what the university is based around. So I had classes of like 360 degrees, like very holistic on the food system. We worked with producers, we had restaurant management classes, we had tastings, we had environmental classes, we had a lot of study trips where we visited different countries and tasted their food and learned about the culture and the history behind it. Yeah, food history, that was also a great topic, learning where does the tomato come from and how did it have an
Interesting.
effect on society and how, yeah, did all these different dishes develop and where did they go
I
back
love
to?
that.
Yeah.
I love that. And you said, you love food because you're building a community. And I couldn't agree more. I mean, food, like we say, it brings people together. And I think a lot of restaurateurs we work with, that's why they want to start a restaurant because they love of food, but also love of bringing people together, right? I mean, obviously, yeah. And is that for you one of the, I mean, biggest drivers of why you got into this, right? You said?
Yeah, the people also. It's so interesting to meet all these different producers and suppliers and restaurateurs. Everyone has their own story, and it's like our own little world in each little restaurant. And yeah, on the side of like food production, the people are so passionate about little products, and like you can go so deep into these worlds. And yeah, I can get really excited about that.
100%. No, I love that. And you guys, your vision at Choco is the slow food movement, right? And kind of um, helping restaurants move into that. Is that kind of is that what it's called, right? The slow food movement. Is that it?
Movement is the movement from the university that I visited. Or went to. The app that I work for, Choco, which I'll tell you a little bit about later as
Yes.
well, is not based on slow food, but we share the same visions, right? Overall, we want to create a sustainable food system. We want to create communities that are also hyper local. We want to um, digitalize the ordering processes from all the players in the market, from big suppliers, from small suppliers, from restaurants. We just want to create this layer of moving food and understanding where does the food come from, where is it going, how much of
Mm,
what product are we using in what region of the world, and going a little bit deeper on that as well.
got it. Got it. So what is it that you guys do exactly at Choco?
Okay, so Choco is an app that connects the kitchen of restaurants with suppliers because everyone that works in restaurants will know it. once your shift ends, you need to go through your inventory. You need to check what's left, what we need to buy, what do we need to order. And you need to like call your suppliers, or you text them, or you email them. Some restaurants even still use fax machines for it. So it's
Oh
scattered all
God.
over. Yeah, it's crazy.
Really?
Very old
Still fax
school.
machines?
Yeah,
Oh
I
God.
actually love it. Very old school, but it's time to change that, right? Because chefs shouldn't be
Yes.
sitting in the restaurant after work for another 3 hours going through all of this stuff. They should go home and sleep, or have more time to actually cook in the kitchen and work on the important
Yes.
in the restaurant. So what we developed is a very simple app for restaurants and suppliers. It's basically, we add the suppliers that the restaurants order from in different chats. It basically looks like iMessage, like when you're on your iPhone and you're chatting with your friends, you like click on your supplier that you order from, and then it
Yeah.
drops down the product list. You can put in your quantities and you send it off, and it's like 3 clicks and it's there, and the supplier receives it as an email. You can download it as an Excel. He can upload it in his inventory system. So it really streamlines it all. He even gets to push a confirmation button. We have a little confetti in our app that like explodes. It's like your
Oh, I
order was
love that.
confirmed. Great.
Amazing, amazing. Okay. And you guys, I know you're European based, but you've just expanded to the US, right? Is that as of this year,
Yeah.
right?
We expanded end of last year, or not last year, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we're Berlin based, but we work with a lot of restaurants and suppliers in the US. So worldwide, we're working with about 6,000 restaurants and 10,000 suppliers, and lots of them
Wow.
in the US for sure.
Amazing. And what was the big move for wanting to move to the US? What kind of opportunities did you guys see? What was the reason for it?
Well, the US is a super interesting market, right? It's really dynamic, it's diverse. People are very tech savvy in the US, very open for new things. Competition is also really high, so you really want to optimize your business. Don't waste money or time. And that's what we do. We save money and time because of our ordering process. So, yeah,
100%.
yeah.
100%. So are you saying the US is more, would you say they're more tech savvy than the European market, or do you think it's the same, or is anyone ahead of the other, or what do you
I
guys
think
see?
that's really compare, because Europe is so diverse, right? So in Europe, we're in a lot of different countries in Europe. So we have countries that are also very open to tech and wanna change,
Absolutely.
dynamic. But then there is also the other side for sure, which is challenging on the restaurant side, because it's like old school chefs that's been doing their work one way for the last 50 years, right? And there, I think
Yeah.
that Americans very much are very open to hearing on new ideas and trying things out. So it's a great market and great people to work with.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think, for us as an agency, it's the same thing. I see it happen all the time where for us, I think, it's funny because I tell our sales team that we got to sell restaurants on two things. One, that they need to try digital marketing, and two, that they should hire us to do the job. Right.
Yeah.
Oftentimes a lot of restaurants, they're kind of resistant to some of this new technology. I mean, we see it all the time. So it's good to hear that you feel like the US market is very open-minded to it, because oftentimes we feel like it's not as much open-minded as we would hope, honestly.
Yeah, no, it is
How,
pretty open-minded looking at
okay, that's good. That's good to know. That's good to know. Well, that's great. What would you say? I mean, how do you overcome some of these challenges as a business when someone is a little bit closed-minded to this? I mean, what are some of like the maybe sales tactics you guys use, or some other benefits that you talk about, other than obviously saving time and money being the biggest parts, right?
Yeah, well, I
Right.
guess it also comes back to what we spoke about before, about like food as a community, and people that are
Mm,
restaurateurs, they talk to each other, they trust each other. So often what works well often is we get referrals, or if we show them, we have also on our website, we have cool videos of chefs talking about how much they love it and how much it changed their business. So
yeah.
getting these referrals or building trust and really showing them that we're here to help them. And I think showing within the community. We also do a lot of community-based programs. We're doing webinars now, and when it was still
Yes.
possible, we did dinners at restaurants where people from all over Berlin came and visited one of our customers, and then they got to exchange knowledge and
I
share
love
stories.
that.
So I think it's creating a community is very valuable.
100%. And your guys' app, as of now, it's free for restaurants, right?
Yeah, it's free for restaurants and also for suppliers.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great, right?
It's amazing. It's so amazing. So if for every restaurant that's listening to this right now, it's free, by the way. So you don't even, again, it's free. So you got to check this thing out. I mean, that's amazing. Wow, that is so fantastic. And so what is it like? Okay, so right now you're helping restaurants save time and money. You're connecting the vendors to the restaurants. What is like? Talk to me about the long term vision of your company. What is the long term vision for what you guys want to do?
So we want to create a food system with no food waste and reduce food waste and create a sustainable system where people are able to be connected to the right suppliers, to the right producers, understanding how to eliminate your waste within your own restaurants. Because if you have all of this data and understand how much are you using, how much are you buying, how much are you throwing away, then you can optimize. And this is really like, this is the beginning. We really have like a big vision that we want to bring everyone, every player of the food industry together so we can together create a sustainable food system.
I love that. Okay,
And for
amazing.
that, now, that's why we're in step one, right? For now, we need to get everyone together and everyone on board and understand everyone's problems and issues and how to connect each other. And then
Yes,
in phase two, next step, I'm sure we'll have new ideas and how to grow. But we have a big vision and we're getting there.
absolutely. No, I think that's amazing. You guys are trying to do. I mean, this is so cool. Not you're trying to what you're doing, actively doing, which is so cool. I've always thought it's just I respect so much the businesses that can do well, make a difference, and also better the world at the same time, right? I mean, a lot of businesses, honestly, they're just here in the business to make money. You guys are not just gonna change the world in such a positive way, but also build a business, employ thousands of people over the world. You guys are making a big impact, which is so fantastic to see.
Yeah, it's
Um,
great. Also, if you look at the employees of Choco, everyone is super ambitious and is really also working at the company because we all have this big goal and we're working together, very
yeah,
dynamic, and it's really great energy. I think that makes us very special.
I love that. I love that. And what would you say is wrong with like the current system? I know you said you're trying to stop food waste. You're trying to build these communities. What is the current biggest pain point you see in the world of this market? I mean, what is wrong with what we have currently?
Well, there are so many different communication channels also, right? We have like so many restaurants, and let's take Berlin. I walk through the streets of Berlin and you'll see like big trucks all over the city that are food delivery to restaurants or to supermarkets. And there are so many trucks taking the same routes and going the same way, delivering the
Mm,
same product in big quantities. We just need to all work together, right? Why don't the restaurants work together and understand, hey, why don't we put ourselves together and we can order together? Or we can, this is obviously like a big vision,
yeah,
but restaurants should share products and share cows and break down the meat and talk to each other as well as suppliers as well,
got it.
logistically, right?
Yeah, I
So
see what you're saying.
I think
Wow.
that's something that
Wh-
needs
What
to.
are your thoughts? This is a random question. What are your thoughts on all these third party apps like Uber Eats and the DoorDashes and the Postmates of the world? I mean, for us as an agency, every single client of ours can say that they're trying to move away from that. They're trying to move away from that because that's eating at their
Mm,
margins. What are your thoughts on all this? You think that's here for the long
I
term?
lost
Or you think that's
you.
going to change? Did we lose
I
connection?
lost you for a second. Yeah, you were asking me about Uber Eats and platform, but I
Yes.
lost.
So all these third party apps, right? The Uber Eats, the Postmates of the world, the DoorDashes of the world. What are your thoughts on these companies? I mean, are they helping restaurants? Are they just eating their margins? What are your thoughts in general? Because for us as an agency, I'll tell you, every single one of our clients is saying, how can we stop being reliant on these third party apps? And
Yeah.
especially now more than ever because of COVID, I mean, everyone was kind of forced into being reliant on these. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts? Are they making a difference for the better or for the worse?
Well, it depends, right? What I think every country and community has different kinds of apps that they use, and that is definitely something that you can see. Also, let's take, yeah, you can see a lot of restaurants that were normally not doing delivery are on delivery now and are forced to do it. I think that there needs to be also here, this is community, right? We're all working together. We're all here for like for the food, for being hosts, for supplying food to our customers. There should be better of like working together and not taking huge margins and expecting of restaurants to participate just because they can't do anything else. So I think dialogue there is super important, and that should be something that we should aim for.
Yeah, 100%. I just, it's one of those things, obviously in the food space, margins already are not great. And so some of these apps, it's crazy how they're taking 30% a lot of the times. And it's just, I see these owners who COVID has hit and taken a large chunk of their business, obviously. And now they're forced to use these apps. And it's just, I don't know. It almost seems kind of crazy that's one of the only options. I mean, anyway. Moving on from that.
That's crazy. Also now, there's like a lot of independent small projects that popped up now, right? There are like a lot of restaurants that put themselves together because they are in the same area and they deliver to the same customers. So I kind of see maybe slowly or hope that there's a change in that direction.
100%.
And that the needs of the restaurants are met a little bit more, right? Because that's what it's about.
So wild stat here in the US is Yelp reported that about 44% of restaurants on their platform will not be coming back. They're closed for good is what they're predicting is going to happen, right? And it's kind of already happened. What do you think, restaurants moving forward are going to need to do in order to be successful?
So I think now kind of that everyone's hitting rock bottom is the time to like reevaluate your business model and start tweaking it, right? With like tools and like optimizing in front house and in back house. So I think that's step one, right? And then I think it's super important for restaurants also to build a brand around them. It's not just the restaurant. People, they're like, what happens at restaurants? People get married at restaurants, their family parties at restaurants, birthdays are celebrated. Like people are connected to them and you can build a brand around that. We have a really cool case of one of our restaurants that started its own merch line, and it's a very cool aperitivo place. And they started making like really cute and funny baseball caps and sweaters. And they sustained over the time of COVID through that. And I think they made up to like 15,000 euros, and they were able to pay their staff through that. So I think it's like being creative, building your brand. You can also then sell products, right? Your sauces that you produce, and you kind of have to be flexible to be ready if anything else happens again.
Do you think we're going to ever climb out of this situation, or do you think that the restaurant market is forever changed?
I think the restaurant market maybe is forever changed, but for the better, that it's also clear, like there were so many restaurants that started opening like a small side shop where they sell products from the farmers or the suppliers that they work with, and also kind of including everyone in the restaurant, including all aspects of it. And I hope that that's the change that's happening on the one side. Then on the other side, for restaurants to just like, be more thorough when it comes to optimizing their business model and maybe investing a little bit more in that.
Got it. And talking about like what that means exactly, optimizing the business model, in what kinds of ways could they be optimizing the business model? What are
on the one side, as I said, right, you have like different tools you can use for front of house and back of house. And then it's like a lot, like there's so many restaurants that have like huge menus with so many different dishes and so many different products. And menu engineering, it's such an interesting topic, and it's so great because you can challenge yourself, you can create new dishes, but you can maybe stick to a smaller range of it and kind of reduce food waste. And
I'm so glad you said this. Oh my God, because so we're actually in the process right now. We're launching a new online ordering platform. It's called DineLine. I think we mentioned this on our previous phone calls together. But I'll tell you, talk about menu mapping. Oh my God. I mean, some of these restaurants, I can't imagine how many different variations that their menu has, especially, Italian restaurants making a pizza. Oh, is it the thin crust? Is it the cauliflower? Is it the thick crust? Is it the stuffed crust? It was, oh my God. So yes, I think it's such a great point is is minimizing the items on your menu, focusing on just what works versus everything possible. The, Pareto's rule, what's 20% is producing 8% of the outcome, right? And that would, I would assume, tie into some of the sustainability that you've been talking about, right? I mean, if restaurants can be more focused on a smaller menu with less to offer, but only the very best, most popular, that would probably help a lot on sustainability, right? A lot of food waste, I'd assume,
exactly,
right?
on food waste. And then restaurants also have the possibility to let to let certain products shine, right? You're making like
Yes.
the taco and you have pumpkins, or this is not the traditional taco, I know, but I was just talking to
Yeah.
that is making pumpkin tacos, and they're talking to a farmer in Brandenburg here in near Berlin, and then they're going to highlight that as like the main thing, and you can tell the story and you can educate the consumer, right? It's a lot about educating the consumer as well. And restaurant also often, they don't have to offer so much to their customers. Customers often are happy when there's lesser choice,
Yeah.
right? I love going to a restaurant with 10 dishes. You can order almost all of them then. And
Yeah. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And talking about food sustainability, is that, I mean, so it's obviously more sustainable to eat vegetarian, right?
That's
Yes
a question.
or no?
Yeah, it is more sustainable to eat a vegetarian.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
looking CO2 emission. Then again, it depends what products you eat, right? Because if you're in Europe and you're living as a vegetarian, but you're eating jackfruit every day, then again, it's
yeah.
not so sustainable because it takes a long way for it to arrive. But
Okay.
in general,
So in that regard, so you guys aren't pushing a lot of vegetarian dishes, or are you pushing a lot, or is it kind of a mix?
our platform is absolutely for everyone. Also,
Yeah.
restaurants don't have a big focus on sustainability. We want to get everyone on the platform. We don't have a big opinion
Yeah.
into what is good and what is bad. Everything's great. Every restaurant that's around, every bakery we love. Everyone could come on the app. Every
Yeah.
supplier can sell their products. So yeah, it's very inclusive, and we
Yeah.
don't state our opinion on it or
I mean,
anything.
no, trust me. I am a big meat eater. I love my meats, and so I'm not pushing that at all either. I just, we're in Los Angeles, and it seems like every other person every other month is turning vegan or vegetarian. I mean, it's kind of hilarious, But I just you can't help but notice, like, it is more sustainable. What are your thoughts in general about the whole movement also on, like, have you heard of Impossible Foods? Like, some of these big companies coming out with, like, it's like a burger, but it's not, it's plant-based. What are your thoughts on all these companies coming out? Is that
I think it's great to develop alternative meat products for vegetarians and vegans, and everyone are also meat eaters that want to eat it. For me personally, it's not like a burger. It's just a different product, right? It's a different dish. It's like when I
yeah.
drink my almond milk, I'm not trying to imitate milk. It's just a different product.
Yes.
If you like it and that's your gusto, then that's great. And I think it's always great to
Yes.
see new innovations in food and people putting their heads together and coming up with new ideas to enter the market. That makes it exciting.
100%. And so you spoke about building a brand more so around your restaurant. And obviously I like your idea of the opening up some retail products, hats, t-shirts, things like that. I mean, why not? It's another revenue driver, right? But I think for a lot of businesses that we've spoken to as of recently, the thing they always tell me is, Brett, a lot of the reason people come to our restaurant was because of the atmosphere, right? Because of the hospitality, the service we provide, blah, blah, blah. And I can totally agree with that, right? But since COVID's hit, obviously they've had to kind of readjust their strategy. I mean, a lot of the states here in the US now, it's like you can't even offer in-store dining, right? It's only outdoor seating. And so I've seen so many interesting tactics. I mean, I've seen down the street from my house here in Venice Beach, they've basically opened up the parking lots and they've completely redone the restaurants outside, which has been so fantastic to see. I mean, I love to see this kind of stuff because we're adapting, we're changing, we're adjusting to what is currently happening in the world, right? But one thing that a lot of clients ask us all the time is, how do we create that brand appearance? How do we create that presence and that feeling of that hospitality online for our customers? Do you have any kind of tips or tricks on that?
Yeah, I love that question. So online, you can Yeah, well, a lot of things that I saw what happened during COVID is that restaurants were sending out these food boxes, right, for delivery.
Mm.
So either you can order a normal dish that they cook in the restaurant, but mostly food that is like ready to assemble. Like everything's ready, you have the pizza dough, but you can still like put your sauce on it and put it in the oven. And then I saw
Yes.
things like a Spotify playlist in the delivery
Oh,
box,
wow.
or a little candle, the one that they have in the restaurant, or their napkins, you know, you can, or like the wine list with like notes of the sommelier or anything around that. That made me really excited. I love that.
Nice. A
Yeah.
Spotify playlist. That's unique. That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Right. Because that's the vibe. I understand that people, yeah, restaurant owners,
Yes.
they own a restaurant because they love to be hosts. They love to have people there. They love to entertain them. They love to, yeah, provide them with food. And if you're not part of that anymore, it's super sad. But
Yes.
really tricks that I saw that were really great. I was
It is
very
really
impressed.
cool. And I mean, obviously, every country around the world, every person has a different belief system on how bad COVID really is, right? Personally, I feel at this point, I feel pretty safe. I feel pretty good. I feel like I'm not in danger, but of course, obviously, some people are, of course, right? And
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, especially those that are at a higher risk, I mean, people are craving that social activity again. People are desperately awaiting something else. I think it's such a great idea. I mean, it's almost like you can have that restaurant experience. And we had actually a client of ours who actually brought up a really great idea. And I just thought about this since you brought up the whole Spotify thing. He was doing a really unique idea. Basically, what he did is he took he created like a date box, and it was like, for a set price, you get 2 entrees, an appetizer, and a bottle of wine delivered to your house on Friday at 7 or whatever the case. So you pre-order these boxes earlier in the week. And then from, I think it was like 7 to 8, they actually would do a live Zoom call where they would
Oh,
have the bartender talk about the wine and where it came from, or they would talk about the cocktails they had just made, and talk about the food item. The chef would come out and talk about the food item. So it's almost like
cute.
kind of trying to recreate that experience, which I thought was super unique. I completely forgot about, honestly, until now. um, but what about through social media? Do you have any kind of ideas or any kind of cool things you've seen restaurants doing differently on social media, utilizing social media? What about like anything live on social media? We used to tell our clients to push Facebook Live or Instagram Live, but a lot of them don't
Yeah,
seem to want to do it.
we organized something cool with a Berlin DJ here in one of the restaurants when it was totally closed. Obviously, no one was there, but she was DJing and we were live streaming it, and you could order food.
Oh,
So that
yes.
kind of brought, in Berlin, we love having techno in our restaurant. So it was like a very, very cool event. Our DJ even had blue hair matching to our logo.
Oh,
That
that's
brought the whole
amazing.
vibe to it. Yeah. So
That is so cool. Wow. I need to come to Berlin, man, as soon
yeah.
as this thing blows over. How are you guys doing over there, by the way? Is our restaurants back to normal? Is it kind of half capacity? What's the status with you guys over there?
Yeah, the restaurants are open. Outdoor seating is open. Also, indoor seating is open. There has to be like spaces in between the tables, and you need to wear
Yep.
your mask, enter. But you feel pretty safe in the restaurant. It's nice. People are sitting outside. It's similar to what you were saying, right? It's like very like the Mediterranean vibe here suddenly, because all the restaurants are
Yes.
outside. You can get like an Aperol spritz to go, and it's like
I
very,
love that.
we
Yeah.
didn't have that before. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then again,
Sorry, keep going.
yeah, and then again, I think it's super cool to see that now it's the time to shine of the waiters, right? Because
Yes.
chefs are rock stars. I love chefs too. They're rock stars for me too, yeah. But the waiters are as well. They're the ones that are making you feel comfortable now in a very weird
Yes.
situation, having to wear a mask, but everyone is giving a really great effort that it's really nice vibes here for sure.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, props to the waiters right now. I mean, oh my God, here in the US we've seen they do the mask over the mouth, and then they do the shield over the face, and then sometimes they have gloves, and I'm like, and I feel
Oh.
it's a crazy thing to look at. It's like, have you seen that show Westworld?
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I know about it.
Oh, it's like it looks like Westworld. I mean, it's crazy. You gotta watch that show. It's great. Um,
Yeah, I've heard.
It's anyway, yeah, it's so interesting to see. What are your thoughts on like the whole contactless like menu, right? So a lot of the restaurants here in the US right now they're putting QR codes at tables so people can scan that with their phone so they don't have to touch a menu.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a strong move right now? Have you seen that same thing in Berlin and around the world?
Yeah, most of
Yeah.
the restaurants actually do it, and I think it's great. It makes sense. It's so much less work for the restaurants. They don't have to clean the menus, or they don't have to be printing papers every day. I think it's,
Yes.
yeah, such an easy thing to do. And as I said, like also when you visit a restaurant, you want to be helpful, right? You want to be like, don't worry about it. Like we'll scan it. It's like if you go to a restaurant now, you go because you really like the restaurant and you like the food, so you're happy to like support where you can. And if it's not having
Yes.
a menu in your hand, then I think that's definitely a bullet
You're
we can
right.
take.
You're
And
right.
everyone
You're
has
right.
a phone with them always, anyways, right? So
You're right. So one thing I know you talk about like optimizing the restaurant back of house, in front of house. One thing obviously I think a lot of restaurant owners realized once COVID hit was just a lot of restaurants had a broken business model. I mean, to operate on razor thin margins, 5% margins. I mean, oftentimes what we've seen, right? And that's really tough.
yeah.
A lot of restaurants we've spoken to recently have said things like, we realized that we just had way too many employees, way too many waiters and staff, and we're trying to optimize that. And a lot of people I've heard of as of recently is they're trying to now also use that QR code as a way of just ordering at the table through your
Okay.
phone versus even
Yeah.
having a waiter and just having maybe someone bring you your food. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's kind of taken away from the restaurant experience? Do you think that is a power move, positive or negative? You
Well,
know?
I think if that's what the restaurants decide to do in their situation, I'm sure it works for some. As you said, the restaurant model is pretty broken. And if you look at the thin margins for the restaurants, but also the salaries of the waiters that are so dependent on tip, I think
Yeah.
maybe now chance to like revamp that, right? There are great restaurants like Dirt Candy in New York who don't take tip, but they include it in the salary of the waiters before, and you create more also of like a team and
Yeah.
commitment to the restaurant and understanding of like you can be much more transparent than with your team, right? And explain to them like this is how much we make and this is where it goes, and if you're part of the
Yeah.
team then you have these, yeah, so I think that's a chance
Yes.
for it.
You're right. You're right. And we have actually seen that obviously majority of restaurants in the US, it's a heavy tip culture, right? But
Yeah.
we have seen some restaurants that are moving away from the whole tip movement. Fixed pricings on everything, absolutely no tip. You don't even have the option to give a tip.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting, and it almost it takes away, I feel like, almost a little bit of the stress from the customer end. And somehow they've made it work. There's a restaurant group, I forget the name of them right now, but they have like 6 different concepts under their umbrella, and it's only credit card, no cash, and it's no tip. And I just think that's so interesting. And they're fantastic, and they're growing like crazy. And I wonder if that's going to become more of the norm. Also, I mean, I don't know. Kind of
Yeah,
seen
I
it.
I do think and I do hope so that that will become the norm. In the US, it's extreme, right? In Europe, waiters are paid better, not very well, but better,
Yeah,
and are not so dependent on the tips. And tips can also be very biased, right? I mean, it's
yeah,
like
you're
a
right.
slippery slope. Everyone should just be getting the same amount, but being dedicated to their job and doing a good job. And if you create like a community once again, right, and a team,
Yes.
then that could happen or that should happen.
Yeah, I know for a lot of American restaurants, the whole movement for it having a tip is because, hey, they'll give a tip if the person's doing a great job. But like you just said, everyone should be doing a great job. And if they're not doing a good job just because of the tip, then they shouldn't be working in the first place, right? Maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. So more on Choco. I mean, you guys is it now nationwide within the US, or are you guys only available in certain states?
We're
Yeah.
available nationwide. We're actually available worldwide, right? We just have offices and teams
Yes.
all scattered all over the world, but anyone that wants to download it could just download it, and yeah, the way it works is you download the app, you put in your phone number, and then you get contacted from someone at Choco to understand what suppliers do you work with, what are your products, and we set up everything. So it's not a time investment from the restaurant side at all. They just need to give the info and we take care of everything.
Wow,
And
that
now,
is so amazing.
yeah, it's really cool. And we just launched a really cool new feature, which I'm really excited about, which is the
Yeah.
web tool for the supplier. So the supplier can now also log on to Choco, invite their restaurants to the app, have the product list inside. So it makes everything really smooth. It really feels good.
And you guys grew so fast as a business. You guys, when did you guys first launch the company?
The company was launched 2018, end of 2018. So we're 2.5 years old now. Yeah.
In over 6,000 restaurants
Yeah, it's
on the app.
cool. It's a
Oh my
great
God.
product, right? And it's
Yeah,
free.
amazing.
Again, it's free. Yeah. So, I mean, you don't have anything to lose. And like once, really, like as we talked about it before, like the one hurdle is often like to get the chef on the app because they've been doing it their way their entire life. But once you have them on the app, they love it. And they're just like, oh my God, like I can order
It's too
my
good.
drinks from the bathroom.
Yeah. Why not? Why not?
Why not?
I mean, it's funny. We were talking to this is we service restaurants within the US, Canada, and the UK. And we had one client in the UK that he was giving his personal cell phone number for online orders, and it was texting. He had customers text him the order, and then he would copy and paste that and text someone at his restaurant, and it would then input it into their point of sale system and then process the delivery. And I'm like, talk about an inefficiency problem. Like, why is the owner taking orders from text on his personal cell phone? So
But it's quite common. I've heard that often. So it's like, that's really something.
wild.
There's a lot to innovate. That makes it exciting, right? It's so cool to like, that's what we're changing about it. So we're the first ones out there to let the restaurants know, hey, you need to be a part of this. And it's cool because you can see restaurants getting excited too, because it's like still so young, right? And they're like part of something that is like revolutionizing the industry.
100%, 100%. And do you guys have any competitors that you're directly competing with? I'm sure some other people, right? Or how are you guys different from your competitors?
So they're like hyper local competitors, a
Yeah.
few of them all over the place. But yeah, there's also another bigger player. But other than that, we're pretty much in the lead.
That's amazing. And what do you think is what helped you guys get into the lead? What is your biggest just wow factor about you guys versus everyone else?
As I mentioned before, it's the team. It's incredible. Like everyone's heart is on this mission, and this is the one thing we want to do. And we have the most like diverse team, which makes us really special. And yeah, there's just like a lot of great positive energy and the belief that we will really will change something in the industry. And I think that
Yes.
is definitely the one thing that puts us apart from everyone else.
You guys are amazing. Wow. Wow. Well, Chelsea, thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have any kind of other final thoughts for restaurants that, might be kind of struggling right now or looking to kind of achieve that next edge in the second half of the year? What would you kind of tell them? Any kind of special words of advice for them?
Ooh, that's a big one. Well, I would say in general, get deep into building your business model and kind of cleaning everything up. Trust technology, use tools,
Yes.
they'll help you. And then I'm a positive person. I believe that this will change the business model for better, hopefully, and more restaurants than we think will survive.
100%. And so if any restaurant owners are listening to this podcast today, how do they find you guys? How do they learn more about Choco?
They download the Choco app in the App Store or Play Store, and then they register with their phone number, and then they will get all the information that they need.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Chelsea. That was fantastic. I think everyone got a ton of value today. So again, guys, check out Choco. Look in the App Store, and the website is just choco.com, right? CHOCO.com, right?
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you
Well,
so much. It was so fun talking to you, Brett.
absolutely. Thank you so much, and we'll see you real soon.
Yeah, talk soon.
Alrighty. Cheers.
Bye.